Hello, 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 and welcome to an all-new episode of Wicked Unscripted, where we have unscripted conversations about some of the most popular reality shows on television. My name is Abigail Adams. I'm your host for this podcast. Joining me today, as always, is the lovely Sarah Talks. We are here to not just catch up on Survivor, we're here to do a Survivor 46 cast draft, and I am so damn excited. I have told Sarah if she takes my two top picks, she will not be forgiven at all. Not even remotely. So,
and I have no idea who those are. So
this is gonna be a bloodbath.
That's very anxiety triggering for me. So
don't worry, I'm still gonna love you all the same. The draft is going to be loser from the last draft picks first, and especially as we are going to be covering more shows and doing more cast drafts, we're just going to keep it in that.
To clarify, we mean the last draft is in the Big Brother draft.
Correct.
I lost that one. We didn't do an official draft for Survivor, but I basically won my preseason winner pick.
Did. But so let's be clear. So she did technically beat me out for last season for Survivor, but since we did a technical Big Brother draft and she lost that, and that was a really close one, by the way. So, but yeah, so Sarah will be picking first, and then we're gonna alternate.
Bowie Jane would have carried me.
That one's got to go on TikTok. That's a day maker, because seriously, it literally came down to my top choice and one of her last. My number one pick was Jag. I think it was your last pick before Red was Bowie Jane.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thumbs up. The computer just gave me a thumbs up emoji. So accurate. Okay, so we will alternate. After Sarah picks first, then I'll pick, then she picks. It's just going to alternate back and forth. And then next episode, we are going to reveal what the prize and punishment are going to be. So as soon as we film this, I'm going to be hopping on TikTok and I'm going to be asking you guys for your opinions. And I'm asking you obviously here right now. Since you're not on TikTok, please email the podcast at wickedunscriptedpod, POD @gmail.com. That's wicked unscripted pod pod@gmail.com. You can also, Sarah's email is there. You can email her. It's sarahtalksbigbrother@gmail.com. You can also email mine. It's not in that little thingy, but it's Abigail Adams.
Or just tell us in the Discord.
Yep. Oh, we have the Discord too. Actually, it's not. It's Abigail Adams. It's Abigail Adams Pro. But the best one is Wicked Unscripted. Just go there. Let us know what you think. That'll be the place, if you're listening to this and you can't find us on TikTok, that you can get your little comments in. We really love to know what you think the best prize and the best punishment are for winning and losing this draft.
I'm not changing my diet.
Yeah, that didn't go so well.
That did not go well for me.
And I think a fun try.
I think I had COVID while being a have-not.
I think it happened so simultaneously by accident too.
And I have diverticulosis, and so the slop actually caused a flare-up.
Oh, it was not our best decision.
I'm not changing my diet.
We won't be doing that again moving forward. Okay, but with that, we are going to get this draft started. Boop, boop, boop. No sound effects here. Sorry. It's just us being lame. So with that, I'm going to let Sarah kick it off. And if you take one of my first two picks.
Here's the thing. I made the mistake of last time we did a draft of making like a ranking order of what I wanted my picks in. This time I have a list of all the people, and I put like my top 3 faves, and then I put like some check marks, like, yeah, I'd be good with them, because really I haven't done that much research other than I've seen a couple clips and I've read their preseason bios. I have nothing else to go on by these people.
There's honestly not a ton more to do. I don't like to go into socials and stuff like you can, and I think that's super deep, and like no one's saying don't. I just don't have the time in my life. So
yeah, I just had to get like enough vibes to pick a bracket for the Bracketology app, which I am playing.
I need to download that. Yes,
there's only 4 days left to get your picks in. We are not sponsored by them in any means. We are just mutuals with that app on TikTok.
Yeah, love them.
I want to give them a little shout out. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can earn points for somebody getting an idol, down to somebody saying they are a super fan, down to like there's points for all sorts of actions. So it looks like a lot of fun. I'm really excited. But I just had to get something together first to get my picks in. And then for this. So I'm going to make my first pick
Dun, dun,
Just
dun.
based on a gut feeling, he has
I have so much anxiety. Don't
the
pick my
same feeling
person.
I got with Austin, where I'm like, I see this person finale night, and that's gonna be Hunter.
Oh, okay, that wasn't one of my people, but he's in my, like, top 5, so damn.
Okay.
Glad you didn't but I love that pick. That's a great pick.
I feel like he has some great strategy, the way like he was talking about like peaking later and keeping to himself and just kind of like playing the fangirl of it all. It's very reminiscent to me of Dee's strategy this last season where she just kind of laid back and then like chose later in the game to peak. And when he was talking about it, that's what I was feeling. And I was just like, okay, I feel like that has proven these last few seasons to be the winning strategy. So the fact that he recognizes that is where he gets where I got a lot of good gut feelings from him and finale vibes, if you will.
Absolutely. So just a little bit about Hunter McKnight. He is 28. His hometown is French Camp, Mississippi, but he is actually, sorry, he's living in French Camp, Mississippi, and he's a science teacher. He said his kids didn't know about this. They can't tell them, obviously. But Sarah, I don't know if you knew about this. He, like Carson, has made his own puzzles, survivor puzzles outside of this, but
I found that
different.
out after.
So that just shows how much I was just gonna be like, "You bitch." But it's literally just goes to show how I am so jealous sometimes in the best way possible of how great your reads on people can be because you can have those and just be like, "And I knew that shit too," which is I live for it. I live for your intuition. I like when I say jealous, I mean it in the kindest way possible. I'm like, I need to be you, damn it. That's a really, really great first pick.
I just need lottery intuitions,
He
and
was,
then
my number 1 or my number 3 rather, so you tuck that
okay,
from
well,
me.
you go. Who's your first pick?
Alright, I'm really glad you didn't take this person. My number 1 pick is Jelensky. He goes by David J his name is David Jelensky, but apparently he will be going by Jelensky, and I'm telling you right off the bat before reading anything, I knew I was gonna be taking him at least somewhere in my top 3 because in Survivor, when you go by your last name, you are going to have something legendary about you. Penner,
Okay.
Donaldson, Cochran, those people are synonymous in Big Brother history. Now, Cochran of those 3 is the only one that won. Donaldson came in second, Penner did not win, but Jonathan Penner is one of my favorite players of all time. So, when I saw this kid, I didn't even see his photo, didn't read anything, and I just saw his name and I'm like, probably gonna be my number 1 pick.
Okay.
Um, Still there because he compares himself to Tyson. He is like, "I'm the full package." He talks about, like, the adversity I mean, a lot of these people talk about the adversities they go through. We have a really great cast that represents a lot right now. He is 22, he is from Las Vegas, still living there, and he is a slot machine salesman. He even has a Survivor slot machine in his home. So, just a lot and we could talk a lot more about it. We'll probably get more into it as we go through the season, but for my number 1 pick, I couldn't not pick him. I'm so glad you didn't pick him 'cause, like, that was my gut. Now there's one more person I am dying to pick. So if you pick this person, I'll be proud of you because you beat me to the punch. And I'm gonna be mad at the same time.
Mm.
No, I'm just kidding. Alright, so who's your number 3?
I think I'm gonna oh god. I think all right, I think I'm gonna go with Jim.
Ooh, interesting. I love that pick.
I
Okay,
it was
tell me
down
why.
between and I'm also trying to be a little strategic here because I have some picks I don't think are at high risk of being taken first. So I'm gonna go with Jim, who I feel like is gonna be a little bit more of a popular pick. It really comes down to vibes. I just felt great
Great vibe.
vibes. She's from Chicago. I don't know why. Like I just feel like that always kind of works out.
Oh, Chicago well, it's not even just major cities, like, Chicago people are known for kinda no bullshit, no matter who they are, it's like,
But
you can have
also really magnetic
Yeah,
personalities, which we have a lot of those on this cast.
absolutely.
I feel like they tend to form alliances easier. Also, her favorite players, what stood out to me, she said Boston Rob, Tony,
Loved
but
it.
Kelly Wentworth too. Um, so I
I
do
like
like how what she was talking about, that she is a risk taker, um, that she doesn't want to play it safe. I love that. It gives me just really good feelings about her. So she was one of, like, in my top 4 that I thought maybe was a higher risk of you taking than maybe the others.
Yeah, she was definitely up there for me, so good selection. She applied with her husband, which I thought was really interesting. And apparently so I read that and then I learned more through, like, Mike Bloom's, interviews, and she was like, "Yeah, we actually, like, filmed together being like, 'Put us both on,' and they only reached out to her." But it was like it didn't take very long, it doesn't sound like, for them to get back out to her. They liked her that much. Um, so I'm excited. She also said in her interview with Mike Bloom preseason, all of the Mike Bloom stuff, by the way, that I mentioned, this was done preseason before they got a chance to play. So this has no indication on like things that actually happened. But like she just said that she was very loyal and she simply wants to have fun. I think a lot of that reminds me of Janelle. Not saying that she be a Janelle per se, but I do like a personality that goes in and is willing to do things to kind of not be whimsical, because whimsical is definitely not the right word. Like, just to like not give a shit, to literally just go on and just be like, I'm gonna play a game. And I think we have a couple people like that this season. So anything else?
No.
Okay, so then my next pick, and I'm so glad you did not pick her. My second pick is gonna be Venus.
Damn
Easily,
it! She was my next
easily.
one.
Sorry, gotta take her.
Yeah.
Venus is my girl.
Only because
I'm
of her
so
past.
excited.
Only because she said that she would play like Parvati or Suri.
Yeah, in her interview with Mike Bloom, she was literally like, "I don't know why more people don't wanna play like villains." She's a little concerned about how she'll be portrayed, or not even portrayed, rather, let me rephrase. She's worried about how she'll be perceived, and it's like, I get that, because a lot of times villains come with the love-hate crowd, and
Also portrayed is correct for an edited show.
so true. I just wanted to so I guess it's both portrayed and perceived. I'm just so excited. So she gives me early Dark Horse vibes. I like wrote all these notes down. Seems super cutthroat. She literally when she was talking to Mike Bloom about wanting villains back, she was literally like, I want to hide a machete, which is like one of the most devious things that's ever happened on the show. That's something that Russell freaking Hantz did. And it's like, yikes. I mean, I don't think she's gonna be a Russell Hantz, but like that's devious, and I live for that shit. I live for chaos on these shows. If she can get away with it, it's smart, but I worry about how that could play, so I know I'm taking an early risk with her. I know she's super, super risky and that there are plays that she's probably gonna make that I'm gonna be like, "Girl, you're ruining my you're ruining my chances of winning this draft." But I wanna run the risk on her because I love people who play like that, and I need it. Sorry, my hair is a mess right now. I keep, like, trying to fix it, so while I fix it again, go for your number 3 pick.
Well, speaking of risk and risky picks, this next pick of mine, I could either see going very, very far or be a very early boot. No in between.
I'm so excited to hear this, honestly.
I'm gonna pick Tevin for my next one.
I love that I fucking love that pick.
And here's why.
Fucking love that pick.
Such a
You took
magnetic
my next pick.
personality. It was giving that kind of kooky, great personality, but magnetic, where like I feel like he's gonna have a lot of alliances early on. People are gonna be wanting to work with him. It was giving Carolyn Yam Yam. Like it was very much like the big personality that no one's threatened by and everyone wants to confide in.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like he's a risky pick because he could very easily go very quickly, but my gut is telling me he's around for the long haul, and I absolutely adore them.
Yeah, no, I think that's it's fantastic all around. Like, you just took my next pick, so damn you. But that's great. First of all, I think it's great when we can have these interchangeable early picks because it shows who we're into early. Also meant to mention this early. Um, let's be clear. The picks that Sarah and I are making are not who we are rooting for. This is not our hierarchy and who we are rooting for. This is our hierarchy of who we think can win. So people we're picking are not necessarily people we're going to just stan all season long. I mean,
No.
we could absolutely
Maybe
could.
on a competitive level because I want to win the draft, but we
Right.
don't know anything. And if
No.
Big Brother and Survivor and all these shows have ever taught us is that preseason interviews typically don't tell us shit. I just get gut feelings.
Exactly. Well, I mean, that's why I picked Jag. And I mean, like, Jag literally my only thing for Big Brother 25. If anybody who watches Survivor watches Big Brother, the reason I picked Jag was like he reminded me of a former almost winner. Um his name is Paul, and it was one of those things where I was just kind of like it reminded me so much mannerisms, things they said about the game. It was just there were so many similarities. I was like, there is no way I can't pick this person to be one of my top picks because like it was like that's what gave it off. So that's why I picked Jelensky earlier. Also Venus because she's good, but that's just me hyping up my own pick. So I'll just shut the fuck up now. So, anything else you'd like to say about your pick, Tevin? Because I genuinely, again, for the third time, so jealous. He was the next person on my list. Great,
No.
great pick.
No, you go.
Last thought, actually, if Bryce from Bryce and Wen, who I'm hopefully going to be seeing in Boston this May, Tevin reminds me so much of Bryce. It's insane. So if you haven't seen Survivor Cagayan, please go. Just so many similar vibes. I think, no offense to Bryce, much love to Bryce. I think Tevin might have certain skills that might like serve him better in the game. And I think he could potentially get farther, but I'm with you where it seems early or potentially late. Okay, so my next pick is going to be Maria. She is a mom. She's like a parent coach, which I really think is super interesting.
Maria,
Um,
man, she was on my like once.
yeah,
Okay.
she's one of the older people on the season. She is I'm trying to find the right words. I have notes too, and I'll get them through. I have like a bajillion things on my screen. But Maria, so like she got first of all, she opened her interview with EW saying she got her kids permission to lie, cheat, and steal, and she's excited to do it. So I'm like, let's go. She also applied.
She's also from Dallas.
Oh, I forgot about that. Bye. So that's another reason why we're gonna stand Maria because we love that shit.
You know what though? Texas people typically don't work pan out for me.
Okay, well, maybe she's finally gonna pan
Maybe.
out for you
Yeah.
guys, and I would actually be happy if she was that representative. She applied for the first time when she was in her 20s, literally 20 years ago. And like she seems very like strong-willed, but very like thoughtful and like like she seems like her thoughts are very well thought out, well put together. Um, she did say her kryptonite though is, and she said this to Mike Bloom, is control. Like losing control and others having control, not being fully in control, wanting to be in control, but has overcome this multiple times in her past, which I think is a really important trait because like it's not that like people are going to be tempted with these kinds of emotions throughout the entire game, and it's one thing to say something can be your kryptonite, but to be like, but I've overcome it before, so I think I can overcome it here, gives me hope. She's one of the it's just it seems like she's going to be somebody that is going to be a big fan favorite. I'm super excited to see what she has in store, and yeah, I could keep I'm excited about her. She is I fell in love with her very, very quickly the second I saw her. Her written answers weren't necessarily the most thrilling to me. They weren't bad. They just weren't like crazy. But when I saw her on camera, I connected so quickly. And I'm very curious to see how people could or could not agree with me moving forward. So that is my pick. With that, let's go to your number 4. Who is next?
Yeah. Maria's actually in my bracketology
Love
team.
it. Love.
Um, Okay, my next pick, for the same reasons, piggybacking off of that, just because I was very drawn to her, and I feel like a lot of people on the island are going to be very drawn to her as well. I feel like she's going to do really well in alliances. And I also think that she's going to perform really well in the challenges, and that is Tiffany.
Woo! Like that pick. She's a little bit further down on my list. But I love her. I can see me falling in love with her, and I don't know about you.
Yeah, she's 33. She's from New Jersey. She's very sunshine and rainbows and unicorns. Love that. She seems like she'd be a risk taker, and I was just really, really drawn to her.
Oh, I almost read Mariah's. Jesus, I was like, I found my notes.
But I could see her physically competing very well.
Yeah, so she's 33. She's from Franklin Township, New Jersey. She lives in Elizabeth now. She's an artist. I'm reading some of the stuff that she did in her written stuff. Again, she's one of the people that popped out to me more on camera, so I really like that pick because it's like one of the things I didn't like when she was on camera was when she was like, "Oh, there are bugs. I don't know how I'm gonna do with the bugs." We have seen plenty of people have that at first, and I think it's like a 50-50 split of how they do. It's usually like 50% they end up not going far, and the other 50% they end up killing it. Like somebody I brought up earlier, John Cochran. John Cochran, especially on his second season. Was it his second or first? One of the seasons. Like within 2 days, he was fully sunburnt and had swollen feet because of how sunburnt he was. Like you cannot fit with the elements super well, but still do well in the game. So one of the things that I saw, and I think personally why I knocked her down in my draft order a little further, just because of my concern. But I think socially, I really like that pick for you. I think that's a really, really solid pick.
You ready to go with yours?
Yeah, one sec. Ooh, Tiffany. All right, so my next pick is going to be Mariah, who is what I was legitimately accidentally looking at. They look totally different, but like we have Mariah in a past season who just made me think of Tiffany. But so Mariah Gaynor, she is 28. She's from Boca Raton. She's living in San Diego. And a couple of the really big things, like she said, she wants to play, unfortunately, she wants to play like Nick Wilson. While Nick Wilson is not my favorite player, I understand where she's coming, or like person in general. I understand where she's coming from as a player in Nick Wilson's game. Would I have personally, though, picked that person? No. So I just want to make that super duper clear. But she is another kind of like Mariah, where it's like she seems like she is going to play a cutthroat game. She, in her little intro, that I saw on EW, I think it was like generally distributed though. She wants to go out guns blazing. And that's kind of like the game she wants to play. But she said, like she is, I mean, one of her kryptonites she mentioned is going to be balance, which, you know, if she's going to be going out guns blazing and she's going to play a strategic game in that manner, she has to be careful because there's a lot of balance that comes with individual immunity in the later game. So it's another risk I'm going to take. And I think she's
I think that pick for you.
I will say I don't actually know if she wins. It is such a ballsy, risky pick. And I weighed pushing her further down, but I feel like the risk is worth it. So I'm going to go with it. I'm going with risky picks this time. I went safe with Big Brother and I didn't like, even though I won, I didn't like my picks as much. So I want more risk. So
I respect that. I respect that.
So who's your next one?
Just right off the bat, I'm gonna pick Charlie.
Ooh, you're going with my hometown boy.
Yeah, you got a Dallas person. I'm gonna get a Boston person, but yeah, I like Charlie.
Everything about Charlie.
Like he has all of the qualities that made Drew successful last season, but none of the arrogant qualities that were Drew's detriment
or Jake's.
Yes. I'm saying like that your token nerd on the island, your token geek. He's a lot more like charming and charismatic and humble.
I think part of the reason I'm comparing him to Jake is he is also a law student. So it's like, Jesus Christ, I will just say though, Can we please stop picking law students as the people from Boston? Like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but like there is so much more out there. Cause like the most real person we've had from Boston to represent the area has literally been Boston
nothing's
Rob.
more fun than listening to a Bostonian.
I want the Bostonian
excited in a courtroom to the judge.
Okay, well, no, but like I get that with Jake. No offense, love you, Jake, if you're listening. Apologies. I get that. It's like for me, it's like with Boston Rob. Like Boston Rob is from the area that I live in now, where it's literally it is working class. It's bust your ass. It's also like hustling to live, and I feel like that's a part of why he was so good at the game. And like I want more of that. I'm not saying don't give us Boston lawyers, because he's not the only. Actually, so the little sneak peek on my pick, my next pick will also be from Massachusetts. But I like there are different kinds of people that come from this area, and I feel like a lot of the people who have recently come out of Boston in general on reality television have been fitting a certain stereotype, especially like Brett Robinson from Big Brother 21. 2020, sorry, not 21. Jesus Christ. Excuse me on that one. But like he was the tech bro that came out of Boston, and like no offense, like you can like his game or not, but part of why I didn't like him is he reminded me of a lot of the assholes that come out of the city who are just kind of like, I don't really give a shit, and like kind of just give us a bad name sometimes that don't always make me thrilled to call myself a Bostonian. And it's like I just want more diversity. We also don't get any like women out of Boston, so like can we please stop picking just men? Because my pick next will also be a man, and as much as I love it, I would like some more women, please. But I do like he's also a Swiftie. Charlie's a Swiftie. I think we're gonna get a lot of Taylor Swift quotes out of this season. He's gonna I feel like we're gonna get at least one a week from him if possible.
I have one more pick that I'll be devastated if you pick. So you go ahead with yours so I can get this anxiety over with.
All right, my next one's Banu. Don't worry about it. I don't think you're taking him unless you just died while I took Banu. But please tell me that wasn't your pick.
It was not.
Okay, good. No, Banu, so he's out of Acton, Massachusetts. So
I really like him though. Well, I'm sorry, I don't want that to be taken a certain way.
Well, and actually, so not that he brought him up. Jem brought up loving Nasir, and I just gotta say, Banu reminds me a lot of Nasir with his energy. I don't know if they're gonna play the same game necessarily, but it's just like this this gratefulness to just have this opportunity to play this game, similar backgrounds, just really interesting. I'm picking Banu right now because he's got that background, plus he's from my hometown. This is a very emotional pick for me on this draft. I genuinely don't know if I can actually see him winning this game again, but I'm gonna really look forward to watching him. So as much as I don't like making emotional picks sometimes, I'm going with that one for this one. Any thoughts on him?
No, I liked his energy. I had a good I put a check mark next to his name, like he would be like a good pick for me.
Yeah, it says he's from India. Originally, he's an IT quality analyst. His 3 favorite hobbies are so cute: dancing, swimming, and yoga. Like, be my best friend, please. I really loved some of the stuff. He said he really wants to play like John Cochran, which is really huge. Like he says he also like can come off as an extrovert, but he's an introvert at heart. I wonder how that'll play into the game. There's a lot of interesting stuff. I feel like he's a middle of the road guy, and it's kind of a gamble, but we're here to gamble, aren't we?
Yeah, it's kind of the whole point of this.
Alrighty, who's your next one?
All right, my next, and this I have at this point now with this pick, I have all of my tops, like well, except for Maria, but I am picking Liz for my next pick.
Ooh, she's very far down for me.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I liked Liz. I liked Liz's energy. I liked that she went to college for leadership, like leadership training and stuff like that. So I feel she's a little quirky. I feel like she doesn't come off too threatening.
In the best way, though. I love her.
Yeah, I feel like she won't come off too threatening. So I don't see her as an early boot. I feel like she's somebody that could pull out toward the end with a lot of strong social connections. I feel like she'll do really well with alliances. And I liked that her favorite, like she feels that she would play a game like most like Russell and Sandra. I did get a lot of like cutthroat. Oh, yeah, no, I have a villain on my list too that I want.
Good. Take a villain.
Yeah, but I do feel like I could get. Oh my gosh, I am having the biggest brain fart ever.
No, you're fine.
She would hum.
Oh, Shan.
Shan, super sweet and bubbly, but like
yes,
kind of
totally
kind of a secret villain. And I felt like in my gut that Liz had that potential. So
I'm gonna be curious. So you and I have very different reads on Liz, and I know you are going off more gut, and it's like I'm going
off gut feelings and
my
the
problem is
cast announcement and then the Entertainment Weekly clips.
Well, one of my thing is I can read too deeply. Also, I think the only additional thing I had was Mike Bloom stuff. So you have not looked at almost anything more than me. You have really not. So my thing with Liz is one of the red flags for me was actually that she said she wanted to play the game most like Russell and Sandra. And when I went into Mike Bloom's analysis, it kind of confirmed why. Is she's an off and on fan of Survivor. And so like she knows older Survivor. And I mean, actually to her benefit, that could really work out well, but I don't know if she understands quite the pace. Like she knows clearly some sort of pace of the game because she applied because her daughter dared her to, which is so great. That's one of my I fucking love that. I just don't know how much she knows about like modern strategy, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but it also I do love watching people who don't get into it necessarily like us, who don't watch the podcast, who don't like even necessarily get into the social stuff.
In the modern era of Survivor, many of the recruits or more casual fans of Survivor have done very, very well for themselves. And I think that lends more to they're not overthinking or like, oh, this means this or this is going to happen next. They don't get so set in their like what they know about the show.
Absolutely.
That they get kind of tunnel vision on what should happen that week, and they're able to pivot a little bit more because they're not as confident in what they think they know.
I think that's a really great point. That's part of why these kinds of picks are really, I think, some of the better ones. They run different but similar, like different but like equal. No, I wouldn't say similar, obviously, if they're different, but like similar, like level risk as somebody who is super overconfident, maybe like a hunter who knows the game so well inside and out. You know what I mean? They're different ends of the spectrum, but they still run, again, different but similar risks. So I love that. I love that. So far, I just want to read this off real quick before my next pick. So far, Sarah has Hunter, Jem, Tevin, Tiffany, Charlie, and Liz. Again, that's Hunter, Jem, Tevin, Tiffany, Charlie, and Liz. And then I have picked Jelinski, who, if we might start knowing as David at first, but I'm going by Jelinski because that's what they're telling us we're going by. Jelinski, Venus, Maria, Mariah, and Banu. And then my next pick is going to be Kenzie. The first thing that stood out for me, if you watch that clip, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about when I say this, is
I just wrote it down that I would pick her because I liked her name.
Oh, I loved her. Well, first of all, she's a hairstylist, and she
her last name's Petty.
You took one of my points, damn it. I love that about her.
I'm sorry, I was just finishing my sentence.
You're so good.
That's literally all I had next. I was like, I would have a Petty on my name on my team.
No, great minds think alike. No, seriously. So like first of all, that was one of my notes. One of my other big notes is she's a hairstylist and very similar to Jam Jam. Like the way she described how she does her job, it's not just like, oh, and like it's just about socializing. It's about getting to know people. It's about the layers that come with it, and it's not just at the surface. And I was like, she could be a dark horse. I'm really, really interested. And the other thing I loved is she was like, and I don't know, she's saying this about herself. It's not coming from the outside, but I love how she said, if you had Parvati plus Marianne, you make me. And I don't know if you watched Marianne's season very recently. She is one of the more recent winners, and oh my god, it's perfect. I need it because it's basically devious plus fun and quirky. And I love it. I live for that shit. So I had one more. She said, "Oh, I said that she's fun. I'm not sure if she'll win, but like based on the show's history with personalities, I think she could at least make merge." So she could be an early out though, but I love running this risk on Kenzie. I think she's a fun personality, and I'm very curious to see where she goes.
No,
Any thoughts on
her? No, I really liked her name. I didn't get much more
her?
from it.
Quick little like note: she's from Gibraltar, Michigan. Lives in Charlotte. She's a salon owner. She likes jigsaw puzzles too. That's a big note.
Oh,
But anyways,
a good jigsaw.
anyways, who is your next? Oh, she also. I'm deleting this right now as we speak. She says, "I'm savage in Catan." I totally forgot about that. Yo, sorry, Sarah. You better be careful. If she's good at Settlers of Catan, I got you. I got you on that pick. Nah, who's next?
All right, I'm gonna go for a pick where I feel in my guts I probably won't enjoy this person, but I feel like they're gonna do really well, and I feel like this particular personality type.
I'm so curious because I have loves and hates on both. Not hates, let's be clear, but like, yeah.
This particular personality type tends to be around a lot longer than the fan base enjoys. I'm not saying that is the case. We are just going by gut impressions and don't want to hurt feelings here, but that was going to be Randon.
Ooh, yeah, Randon is an interesting pick. I like
Brandon, not quite Bruce level, but as far as he's definitely going to be the one that's going to try to assert himself as the leader. He's very athletic. He runs marathons. He's used to like endurance type sports. I feel like he is going to kind of sweep competitions. I feel like he is less likely to be seen at a tribal council early on in the season. Therefore, I feel like we're absolutely getting him at least post merge. And with this only threat of being taken out being that the other players are threatened by him. So
yeah.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, he's. I'm not calling him a villain because I haven't actually seen anything about him yet. Just from the clips I saw him from, it's giving jock villain vibes.
I don't even know if he'll end up being a villain. He reminds me of Roxroy from a couple of seasons ago, where it's like the dad, older guy vibe, kind of even like Bruce. Not the silliness of Bruce, not the silliness, but like I'm the older man of the tribe. I kind of know what's what. And not saying that in a bad way. I actually think, especially, I love Bruce, but I think it's more of like closer to Roy, where it's like more affirmative, like I know what's what. I know what's going on. I don't know how that's gonna rub people. I think that we'll probably see some early clips of people being like, I don't like that. But like ultimately I don't see him going out pre-merge. My concern is that as a character, I shouldn't say character, but as like somebody whose characteristics remind me of Roxroy. Roxroy was one of those people where it's like, yeah, we'll keep you till the merge, but your gameplay, he was a very frantic player. He was kind of just all over the place. Even though he was very loyal, ultimately people felt like he was going to be all over the place and that he was changing minds. And I feel like I worry that that could be the same perception. They fall into very similar categories. And there was a big conversation that season too about who gets voted out post merge and like why. And it was a big conversation about BIPOC and stuff like that. I am not saying that anything in terms of Randon. I'm just saying he very much reminds me of that realm that we were in. I would love to see him go far in this game because he has some incredible qualities from what I've seen, at least, where it's just like it'd be a really great story to show that that kind of personality can really succeed and not necessarily just always be kind of tough and only tough kind of guy. Sorry if that was a rant, but I feel like I wanted to get that off my chest when
You're good.
watching Roxroy that season. He was an interesting character. Reminds me so much of him.
Okay, so who's your next pick?
All right. My next pick is going to be Soda. And I'll tell you, before anything, one of these things, I was reading everybody's names off of lists when I was getting prepped before I even saw her face. And I was just like, reminds me of Soda Pop from The Outsiders. And I was just like super curious to know if this person was going to look like Rob Lowe. Like, looks nothing like Rob Lowe.
I have to know your reasoning.
God. What?
I have to know your reasoning.
Okay. Soda is a very risky pick. She is one of those people that I think could be similar to the things I mentioned about Tiffany, where it's like I'm worried about some of the battle of the elements kind of things. And I also worry about like some of her social stuff where she's like, I could literally tell people off. But I don't know. I just think she's a fun, interesting pick to in terms of like what she's gone through in her past and how she's overcome it. I know a lot of people have overcome things, but it's I'm trying to remember the specific point. Did I write this down as a note? I have like a bajillion notes that I'm like jumping between. Oh, she said she reminds herself of Carla, which I really, really enjoyed, where it's like that assertiveness while still being everybody's friend, like having that kind of a game where it's like if she can be a Carla, which I feel she can, she could go a long way, but I do worry about her adaptability, which is why she fell so far in my draft order.
She was at the very bottom of my list.
She was very close to mine.
And well, one, she's deathly afraid of butterflies.
I know.
And she's going to live on an island with things much scarier than said butterflies.
I know.
And then it was like, who do you see yourself playing most like? And the answer was season 42. And I thought, that's a weird answer.
Yep.
But she actually gave like a former player's name that what you saw, that's nice. But yeah, the answer on Entertainment Weekly was
I saw that too. Actually, that was one of the reasons 42. She was very far down.
Not the worst answer to that question. Not the worst answer. The worst answer to that question. But anyway.
I'm pulling up my Blooms thing real quick because there was something in here that really like.
She's adorable.
Like it's something like what again, kind of similar to who I said with my earlier picks. Their answers on paper weren't my favorite, but when I saw them on camera, I was like, I love you.
The Entertainment Weekly cast reveal had all the paper answers, but then like there's a video that ran where they were asking them different questions than what the paper answer was. So that's where I was getting like a lot of my vibes from.
Well, so one of the
do you want me to go ahead and do my next pick?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's skip this. We got to keep going. So I could just say she had like a lot of energy in what I saw in the Mike Bloom interview that I don't know necessarily came through with that like generic intro that everybody got handed out. So that was probably my big thing. So yeah, let's go to your next pick. This is your second to last pick. Who are you going with?
Oh, I only get 2 more?
Yeah, you only get 2 more?
Okay.
Think carefully. Kind of interesting that we're down to these 4. The final 4, for people who are wondering, are Q, Ben, Tim, and Jess.
I know. I think I'm going to take Jess.
Thank you. She was my last.
Really? It'd be interesting to hear why.
It's probably, and I'm not saying this, it's just biased. People with her personality and these personality traits that they're listing have in her career, like none of them have done well on the show. Like the people who are like scientific people very often, like not like taking Carson out, but like I just can't stop thinking about like brains versus bronze versus beauty. Like oftentimes these kinds of characters who are just like, I'm quirky and I'm this way. It's like, it's not that I don't love them for who they are. It's just that they don't.
But she's very scrappy. So like meaning she's good at like she makes her own clothes and
Love her as a woman, by the way.
yeah. But like I'm saying that she's like the craftiness too, I feel, and she was talking about how her being able to adapt and survive in that environment and create things to help the home base and stuff. Like out of the ones that are left, like that she was the one. I just have so many unknowns on the other 3 remaining. I'm trying to figure out which one of those I want for my last.
I think the next one, I want to know if you can guess. I know who I'm picking. Who do you think I'm going to go with for this next one?
Spencer?
No. There's no Spencer.
What?
There is no Spencer.
Oh, I think I wrote the name wrong. Hold on. Last name Spencer. Sorry.
I was like, there is no Spencer. No. Whoever it is, incorrect. Oh, are you talking about Tim Spicer?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Absolutely no. And not absolutely not, just no, not my pick. No, my next one is Q. Quintavious. He's going to be going by Q on the show, though. So I'm going with him for reasons, and there's reasons why he fell very far on my list. His
was the worst What Past Survivor.
Oh my god!
Answer ever.
Like, some of the answers I just don't understand why some people make them. I'm trying to find his shit. Sorry, I have like my notes all over the place. But one of the things I really liked about Quintavious, so he's 29, he's from Mississippi, currently living in Memphis, but his favorite Survivor player, where was that? I don't even see it here.
For Q, his answer was just bits and pieces from a lot of players, so he hasn't seen.
Oh yes, Jesus, right here, literally, like couldn't even give a legitimate answer. Was just like, yeah.
So he's a recruit.
Yeah. Oh well. You want to know also why he's a recruit? Because he has the number 2 real estate business in the country. He doesn't seem like he has much knowledge of the game, and absolutely, I was just like looking for the information before I could like spout it out without fucking sounding dumb. But he's like, I'm brave, polite, and proud, and it's like those aren't qualities we're looking for when we're talking about Survivor, but thank you anyways. He's just going to be an interesting player. He's going to be a brute force. I don't think any of these 3 people left are ultimately going to win, so I'm just taking people with the random chance. I would just hope that maybe his charisma takes him places, because I think he's got a lot of it, and charisma can do wonders for you on this show. It doesn't win you it, and I need to know if he's going to have the social savvy to pull him through. We'll see. But for now, I guess that's my pick.
Okay.
So, we both have one more pick left. Mind you, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, that Sarah picked her near winner pick for the Big Brother 25 draft here, so think carefully. You have 2 left.
I have a very weird, when it comes down, we are between Tim and Ben. I'm gonna pick Ben.
No, damn it!
Sorry. I'm gonna pick Ben. But for some really weird reasons. One, I liked his energy. I really liked his energy. On like a vibes, I liked the vibes I got from him. And I have to go, that's a huge percentage of why I picked the people I pick. I did like some of his answers. I feel like he's going to be one of those personalities that might do well or be like very tribe loyal to his initial tribe.
Yeah.
I feel like he would also make some cutthroat decisions. I liked that. And then I like that even more that most of Tim's answers I can't physically listen to. And I say that in all seriousness. He had some stories.
I genuinely understand, and
he has some medical stories that I saw, I read it, and I immediately expelled it because I get physically nauseous literally with anything involving certain body parts that he talked about. And also he seemed very, 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 very long. This is not like this kind of turning an anti-pick, but he also seemed very, very long-winded.
Well, because ultimately we have to be able to pick. We have to pick everybody, so it's not like we're gonna like every single person. And I'm not saying
I don't like him either. I'm saying that
right,
when it came
right.
down to Ben or Tim's answers were just very, very. He gave like full essays to every answer, and I was like,
Literally.
"Oh God, is he going to be that person on the
Well,
island?"
one of them was, "What is the accomplishment that you are most proud of?" And his answer, and I just mean this all politely, but he goes, "I've listed several accomplishments." Um, and it's
And he
like,
gave
hold
a
on.
resume.
I'm not gonna read them because they're all great. So I'm not gonna try and knock that down, but I'm just gonna leave like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11. 11, 11 in a row.
But they're like almost bullet
They
pointed
are all
too.
bullet points. There's not substance to them. And I think to that
Yeah.
point, I worry that like that's gonna be how his game goes, is that it's all about bullet points about why, but no legitimate substance or argument. We were just
Yeah.
recording the Traders podcast right before this, and it's like Trishelle has had a really, really hard point this whole time this whole season, making her point ever since Dan has been voted out of the game, has literally been like, "Hey, Phaedra's very obviously a traitor. We need to get Phaedra out. Phaedra has been a traitor," but she's making her points so poorly that people aren't they're not convinced. They're not buying into it as much as they
Me
could.
either.
And I feel like that is potentially, I mean, no matter how far Tim goes, I feel like that's what we're going to get, and why he has fallen to last on my list and will be my last pick.
I will say this though, I loved his "What are your hobbies?" answers when he said
Yeah.
dating
Oh,
my wife. And as a wife of 17 years, my husband still dates me too, and I gotta tell you, like, that's just kudos. I love it. I love to hear it. Love to see it.
I
But
love
yeah, I just
that too,
felt like
in
a
general.
stronger connection between the two to Ben.
I'll just say the reason I had that visceral reaction when you picked Ben is because Ben, now people are going to hate this, and I need people to listen to my whole thought. Ben is like my Gabler. Uh, I understand people do not care for Gabler. You can have your opinions about Gabler. This is not about like how you feel about Gabler's game. Gabler came in, and initially when he was talking with Ellie, he was like, "You like Mastodon? I like Mastodon." Actually, Emily, but she had actually, Ellie had actually like known Mastodon through her sister who had passed away through drug addiction, and it was a very big like connection. And it's like just people have special connections to music. I'm a Mastodon fan, so I was just like, oh, that makes me feel so good and so happy. And there are things about Metallica. I love Metallica's music. Let's just put it that way. Metallica is one of my musically one of my favorite artists of all time. So like the fact that we're probably gonna get Metallica references and Taylor Swift references on the same season, like I'm kind of floored that we're gonna get like when worlds collide. It's gonna be so much fun. Um, and honestly, I'm really looking forward to this season. This cast of characters is probably one of my favorites that we've gone through preseason so far together. So, what are you looking forward to most this season as we get this wrapped up?
Um, yeah, I think I'm most looking forward to this cast. This has been the most exciting and like dynamic group, complete casting group that we've seen in the last few seasons. There's always standouts. There's always like a handful that we're really pumped to see. But like overall, this was actually a pretty hard draft to put to paper because everyone seems like such a big personality in their own way. And I think that's gonna make for a really fun season.
Totally. I feel like it's been easy to pick out top players. And I'm not saying you and I, obviously you and I have our opinions, but that doesn't necessarily mean, I think it was still kind of hard to decipher who was going to do really, really well in this game. There's a lot of people that show really strong characteristics. Uh, It's going to be really fun to watch, and there's hopefully going to be a lot of drama. I have high hopes for this cast though, based on what we've seen. So with that, that wraps up this episode of Wicked Unscripted. If you like what you hear, don't forget to rate, subscribe, and review the podcast. I say it in a different order every single time. If you want to follow our updates on TikTok, you can go on my TikTok, which is it's Abigail Adams, or hers, which is Sarah Talks Big Brother. If you go on Twitter, same thing for me. Just look up Sarah Talks Big Brother for her. You'll find her. She's super easy.
She's probably easy.
That's not what I meant. You bitch. I love you. Anyways, if you want to ask us a question, share your thoughts, leave us a tip, anything like that, just email the podcast again, Wicked Unscripted, pod@gmail.com for more. We are always looking for fresh and diverse voices to join the conversation. And with that, we will see you next time. And please, like us, enjoy season 46 of Survivor. Bye.
Bye.